Hey everyone, what is up and welcome back to the channel. I'm Heather and today I'm going to be sharing with you my sewing plans for the month of April 2025. If you are new here, I do a lot of fashion and sewing content, so definitely consider coming along and let's dive right in. So for March, I had a huge list of things I planned to make, and the first half of our month kind of went awry, and I don't even think I sewed until the second half of the month really. So I have shortened my list quite a bit this month just because I do know we're going to be traveling to Paris for a little bit at the end of the month. I'm trying to keep it relatively realistic. And a lot of you know that a big part of my year is learning to start designing my own patterns, my own clothes, not only using pre-made patterns. So unfortunately, because of the month going a bit awry last month, I didn't get to a drafted pattern. So that's definitely on my list for this month. However, to start off, the first thing that I'm gonna make is a bit of a palette cleanser. If you watched my March makes video, which I'll leave linked overhead and down below, you will know that the ruched top that I made, which I don't know if you can see it partially a little bit in the background here, but it was just one of those processes that was a little bit frustrating and tedious, I suppose. Not really difficult, just tedious. And I need something quick and simple to just get me reinvigorated, and so I am going to make McCall's R11235, this skirt pattern here, and I'm gonna go for view C, which is the one that she is wearing. Truthfully, I don't know what fabric. I have looked and considered several in my stash, and I thought by the time I make this video, I'm gonna have an answer for them, and I still don't. But I'm considering a couple, and probably when this video is done filming, I'm going to find something to pre-wash for this. But I just thought it's a really pretty, sort of lightweight, breezy, pleated skirt, which will be great for the spring. And so I'll probably keep that in mind too with my fabric choice, but I think this will be a great, quick, easy sew. Now, next on my list, again, some of you probably watched my goals for March. One of those things was to make my husband a coat, which didn't happen, but part of the reason wasn't time, it was that all of a sudden it got a lot warmer, and he and I were discussing, do you want to hold off on the coat until we start going into the fall again and do something else? So now I'm going to be making him a hoodie, which will be this Burda Young, says super easy, and this is 6718. I'm going to be making view B. He said he wanted to try out one of these sort of slouch, I don't even know if you would call that a hood. It's more like a snood, like a slouch snood. Somebody, if you have a term for this, let me know. But that's the view we're going to be going with. And one of our local stores here has the coolest selection of sweater fabrics. They have like a separate room that's just all these unique sweater fabrics, and I believe a lot of them they actually design and have sent in. That's sort of what I've gathered. And so I let him pick one out, and he picked this sort of almost like a burnt orange with some deep gray detailing. And the gray is really deep enough to pair with black as well. So we got some banding in black. We got black grommets. And then when I was at the fabric market here that comes once a year locally, which is so much fun, I found like a pre-made cording for the hood that had the nice metal tabs on the end. And so originally we were just going to use a gray flat, almost shoelace style that I was going to sew up the ends on. But I saw that and I thought, oh my gosh, that will look so nice. So that's what I'm going to be making here. The next piece I would like to make, I mentioned in my goals for March, so I will just touch on it very briefly, but I want to make a self-drafted skirt. There was a class I was going to take through Domestika, and I actually did start the beginning of that class, which is a Spanish class with overdubs in English, but some of the overdubs were a little bit confusing. So whether or not I try to go through that course or go through something else, I want to self-draft a skirt. And this is a local twill that I found in this beautiful deep forest green with sort of, oh gosh, I don't even know, it's like a purpley pink petal slash flower. I just love this fabric. So whether I use one of my textbooks or a YouTube video, or I do end up doing that Domestika course this month, I will figure out a way to self-draft a skirt. Okay, so the next thing I want to make, I am kind of all over the place with, so maybe you all can give me your opinion on this. I had this make in my mind for years. I bought this fabric years ago with a very specific thing in my mind, and then when I kind of held it up today, the fabric, which I'll show you here in a second, I just wasn't sold on it. So I'm sort of debating now if I'm gonna go with my original plan or do something else. So I have this fabric I got at Hobby Lobby before we moved, and it is like a crinoline with this ombre of magical flowers on it. It's these 3D flowers that are stitched on. I have about 6 yards or meters of it, and my original vision was this over-the-top sort of avant-garde cape coat to go over either a really form-fitting simple white jumpsuit or simple white dress. I don't want anything too much because I think this would be plenty, but I was going to use this Simplicity 9114 coat pattern, but then I was going to add a hood to it. I always sort of saw this like floral hood for Easter, right? This big avant-garde sort of Easter look. But now that I do this, I feel like this might look crazy. I don't know, does this look crazy or silly or cool? I don't know. I can't decide. Once I held it up to myself, I'm just not sure. So that was the original intent though, is a hooded cape-ish coat type of deal over something very sleek and simple and white. But now, do I do that, or do I do something like McCall's 8554 View A? Because this is a dress I really want to make. I would have to, obviously for this one, do underlining and use this as an overlay basically, but I don't know. I am so torn on this, but I've been wanting to use it for years, so we'll see if I get to it this year for Easter. This is one that, because I'm on the fence about it, may or may not happen, but I would love your thoughts down in the comments. All right, the next up on my list is another one I did not get to in March, which is a trench coat by Helen Castillo. It is on her Patreon. I've had this fabric hand dyed for the longest, and I did finally cut the pattern out. So I have actually cut out the main fabric. I switched to making a top because I was pre-washing the lining at the time. So that's actually why this project didn't happen last month, but it is in this twill that I dyed in sort of this peachy pink color. And it's just a really cool sort of easy looking tie-on trench, and I thought it'd be really beautiful and kind of a nice weight for the spring over dresses and things like that. So we will see if I get to this. It's not going to be the first thing on the list for the month, but it is part of my Make 9 for the year, which I've been doing an okay job with, so I definitely want to make sure it gets done at some point. All right, and last but not least on my list is I would love to make something in linen this month. I love linen so much, but I don't sew with it as often as I should. I have been trying to switch to a lot of natural fibers in my wardrobe. Because I love fashion so much, I'm realistic with myself in that I will probably never have 100% of that, but I am trying to do more and more of that when I can. And I have also gotten really active on Minerva's website. So if you're on Minerva, definitely feel free to find me. I'm under the same name there. And also I'll leave my Instagram here too for anybody that wants to follow along. But I have this beautiful linen that I got here locally. It is this gray with a beautiful floral. I do love florals, and I have said this before, I gravitate towards solid colors when I shop, but I am a nut for a print and a color in the sewing room, and I told myself this year I'm gonna do more solids. I've just kind of given into the prints very early into the year here, so I guess it is what it is. I like both, but this one's obviously a more subtle, but we've got a big floral print on here, and I just think it's beautiful. I think I want to make some sort of a dress in this linen. It would be so awesome. So that is it. Those are the goals for the month of April, because like I said, I know we're going to be gone some of the month. Even this might be too many for the busy month we're going to have, but that is sort of the goal, and I think it's much more realistic than what I had for March. So again, I can't wait to dive into more of the designing side of things. Definitely stay tuned for more on that, because I'm going to make sure that I get back into that this month. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing and coming along for the fashion and sewing journey, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!